This time on Kustom Works, cookware? Again? I think so. Let's get to the workshop. Right, so this week what we're going to be doing is making some wing mirrors for the Meat Wagon. And we're going to be making them and not buying them because I want it all in the same style, like it's all come out of the same box. Don't want a car and then quite obviously the mirrors have just been bought off like, you know, Wish or something stuck on. I want to make them so they look like they've always been there. And of course, I'm going to use cookware. Let's get to the workshop, let's get those mirrors made. Okay then, so we're looking at these wing mirrors. The wing mirrors on the meat truck, they're nice, and my God, they are good. You can see absolutely everything through these. They are so good, they've got that curve and everything. They're a really great mirror, but this back will not do. So what we need to do is make something that is going to go on that mirror, make it look a bit more old school and a little bit better. Okay then. Guess what's back? I'll tell you what's back. Cookware's back. Yes, this is what we're going to make the back of the mirrors out of. So these are just cooking trays. Betty Crocker, the home of roast chicken and badass hot rods. Oh yeah, you should ask Betty, she'll tell you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut these in half and make them fit. They're about the right height, but I've got to make them look a bit more wing mirrory. And why have I started with these? Well, they've got this lovely round corner, and for the price of these, which I think the two were like a tenner or something, you know. But for these corners and this, there is just no cheaper way of getting to this point this quick. So let's cut this in half, get some of this coating off, and see if we can weld it back together and get that width right. And now I'm just going to measure it up to this review mirror just to get the size right before I weld it up. And what I'll do, I'll probably put this together and then tape it. But it slides sort of inside nice, so it should be pretty easy. So that is where that needs to be. So, just so that doesn't slip. I know it's moved a bit, but yeah, I'll be okay. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'll take it in, weld it up. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I'm going to make some marks on this just so we know where that was. I'm going to cut along that line, and I'm going to weld these two things together. I've welded that up, I've spotted around there. Now, all this thing with cookware that I do, if you're ever going to start cutting it about and welding it, my God, it's thin. But it will be your time to shine as a great welder because, let's face it, any fool can weld thick stuff. It takes real skill to weld thin. And at the minute, to weld that, I've got my welder. It's never been here before. Number one, almost zero wire speed. This stuff is really, really thin. But it's going to make a great back for that mirror. So, Now I've done this, now to offer it back up to the mirror, just to see what else I've got to do. I thought, oh no, I've got to cut some stuff out at the bottom for the support. Might make a support on the top of that mirror as well, so let's take a look at that. Okay then, so, as you can see, this won't go on there because of this bracket to the mirror. So, I'm going to have turned it round, and I've marked just there. I'm going to cut that back, and then this should fit on. Okay, so the wing mirrors. This other bit of film you've just seen, I did the other day, and then I sort of just ended up finishing the wing mirror because I had no more battery in the camera. Although, since that, I've realised, because I've finished the other one, I did a few things that took a bit longer. So, same thing, baking tray. Instead of welding it though, I've just bonded it because on the other mirror, we end up with a lot of metal work on the front. I don't really have to weld that. It was a pain to weld, so I don't have to do that no more because there's more metal work goes over this, and there's like a frame that goes around here. It's all going to be super solid. So, sort of a change of mind, but I see that the first one was like a prototype, and I worked out how to make it, and now I know how to make it. Well, there's a lot of stuff I don't have to do, so I'm not going to do any of that. So then, tray, and the tray at the minute is just super glued with some bits of dye bond on there, and now I'm going to mount the mirror in there. I need to get to this bracket with this, so I need to mount that about there. So I've got to sort of float the mirror in here. I'm going to put 2 bits of timber behind it and then bond it down, and then this will hold to that, but I'll still have adjustment on this so I can set the mirror and then bring it in, weld all that together, make all the other bits, and yeah, get it all together. So let's get this bonded in here.
You're looking good, shout it good, show enough good enough for me. You're looking good, shout it good, show enough good enough for me. You're looking good, shout it good, show enough good enough for me. You're looking good, shout it.
What I'm doing now, I'm going to stick these 2 bits of timber into there. Now, I want to get on, and you know, I don't want to mess about too much. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick them in with mitre fix so they hold for a minute. I'm actually going to put PU sealant behind, so they stick now, and the mitre fix will hold them, like, you know, till tomorrow, and then that will hold them forever. So it's a really strong bond, but it doesn't have to stop you working. Let's do this. That's a mitre fix down. One other thing with this is, whenever you're messing about with cookware, as I often do, anything with this sort of like Teflon-y coating on, you've got to rough it up to stick to it. Nothing's ever going to stick to it. It is Teflon, it's non-stick, and that means paint and glue and all of that lot. So, got that in there. Good slug of PU sealant. And I use PU sealant because I don't ever really want any silicone in the workshop. Like, you're going to have to use silicone sometimes, but I did quite a bit of painting, so I don't want any of that fisheye or sort of silicone contamination. So PU, always good. Right on there.
You're looking good, shout it good, show enough good enough for me. You're looking good, shout it good, show enough good enough for me. You're looking good, shout it good, show enough good enough for me. You're looking good, shout it good, show enough good enough for me.
Right, so now I'm going to stick the mirror into there. Now the back of the mirror's got just a ton of undulation and stuff, so I'm probably never going to get that instant tack with the mitre fix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it down first with filler, and then the same with the PU sealant. PU stuff will hold it forever, it's never coming off. And yeah, you could just stick it on with Bondo, but Bondo's not really a glue, it's a filler. I know it does stick pretty good, but it can crack and peel away after the time, whereas PU sealant, that don't happen. So, same thing, just makes the job work a little bit quicker than it would.
shout it good, show enough good enough for me. You're looking good, shout it good, show enough good enough for me. You're looking good, shout it good, show enough good enough for me. You're looking good, shout it.
Put all that together, drop it in there, and we've got a nice amount of like goo to bed down on. Okay, so I'll give that about 15 minutes dry, then we'll get on with the rest of it. That is stuck in there pretty good. Now I need to do a little bit more work here, and what I've done, I've cut out this piece of dye bond. I'm going to stick that on there. This gives the mirror a little bit more of a retro sort of look, and hides that we use in this truck mirror, and that can go on there. So what I'm going to do now is drill all the way around here, and then rivet it on, and then I'll sand this up so it fits that shape. So I'm not cut it perfect at the minute, but what I'll be able to do is grind up to this edge, and then that will look like it grew there. So drill in, rivet in, get this done, and then we'll look at what we're going to do on the back, and I'll show you the one I've already made and what we're sort of aiming for, because that'd help, wouldn't it? Right, so I've bolted this on now, just to this this bracket, and that is bolted onto the door, but we've got to make this whole top piece and come round back to the door. First, I've got to make sure I can see something out of it. And I've got to tell you, these wing mirrors, because they've got the sort of convex thing going on, they are absolutely amazing. I can see better out the back of this than I can in my daily driver, which is really weird for any sort of hot rod or rat rod. You know, you normally got them little peep mirrors, or as I call them, a novelty only for show mirror, because you can't see out really, can you? But this is amazing. And of course that's really important, because it's a big vehicle and we want it to be easily manoeuvrable. It's going to sell food. So wherever this is, wherever it parks up, there's going to be people around. So you really do want good visibility, and that's why we've gone all out for these giant wing mirrors. But anyway, I'm going to sit in the car now, we're going to angle this, and then we can start to construct the back, and it's all going to look like this. And here we go. This is the finished thing, the finished mirror. Lots of spot welding and rust. Of course, all the rust is fake. Oh, actually, this really is rusty, this, but it's a nice thick piece of tube. We've got all of this, and then round on the mirror side, we've got that enormous convex mirror that we can see everything with. All of this has been rusted up. You know, when this has got the clear coat on it, this is going to look awesome, but also it's going to work really well. So I'm going to sit in the car, set that mirror up, and then we'll jazz up the back so it looks like this one. The wing mirror is now set in its place. I sit in the driver's seat, I can see nicely down there, I can see just a little bit of the rear fender, so good for manoeuvring. This is set now, and this is right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some filler down there, literally just Bondo, so this holds perfectly. So when I unbolt this, take it in there, weld those bits on, I'm not going to lose literally the thing the mirror does. It's only there to see backwards. If you don't do that, might as well go in the bin. So I'm going to Bondo this up so that doesn't move. And like I say, you know, I'm not keying anything in. It's just to hold it while I take it in and weld those other jazzy bits on and fabricate this top bit. But that we'll hold that mirror exactly where it is. I know all these bolts will go back in the same place. So this will now enable me to see backwards. I'll let that dry and we'll take it in, get it on the bench, add all those cool rusty bits, and make it look like a proper mirror. Okay, so the mirror's out and it's time to put some of that sort of welding stuff on the back. Cut a piece of tube in half with a plasma cutter for the other mirror. It's probably like a very thin exhaust tube or something. And then what I'm going to do is sit that on there and it will look like there's some sort of central spine, and then I'll, just like on the other one, I shall plate it in and jazz it up with some more rivets. So let's get the welder fired up and make that happen. There we have it, we've got this bit of detail on the back, we'll get some rivets around there, but what we really need out of here now is that top mount. So we're going to bolt it back on, position some bits up, get it right in the car, then we'll bring it in there, weld it up, and then it's about done. So what I've got to do now is get a stay from here, it'll come up, bend over, and then I'm going to sweep it round and attach it to the top of this door. Okay, so I'm going to get some metal, we're going to mop this up, and then we'll get it all welded up. It's going to look awesome. Let's do that now. What I need on the top of that mirror, I need a nice tight shoe bend, and I haven't got that. So what I'm going to do, use a bit of the old spring out of the taxi, and if I cut this section here, that will give me the bend I want. So I made this, which is like the top section of the bracket. It's going to fit into there, and then we'll go off of there, a nice gentle sweep back into the top of the door. Now, yeah, I could bring the welder out here and tack it, but stuff like this, I'd rather super glue it all together outside, take it in and weld it, and then if something's not right, you can snap the super glue off. It's just a bit easier. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue that in there, and then form a piece of steel to fit back to there. This isn't going to be strong, but it's going to hold it till I can weld it. Next, I'm going to form this piece. That, just a bit of guesswork really, and oddly enough I've bent it too much. I thought I was going to have to bend it more. I've taken a little bit of the curve out from just here back, and then that should meet up with this and we can make a bracket that screws to the door frame. Right, so this is going to be the mounting plate that fits up here to attach it to the door. So once again I'm just going to super glue it to the door to where I want it, and then super glue the bar to that, and then all of this will come off as one unit. I'll be able to take it in and weld it up. There we are. Everything is now glued together. This just needs a couple of holes drilling in it. So so that that can be screwed onto there. Now this is all together and I know it's right, I can take this into the workshop, weld it all up. I've used the glue so there's no sparks near anything, so I won't want to damage this perfect paintwork. But yeah, using glue like this is like having an extra pair of hands, and I would recommend anyone to buy some Mitre Fix, because just when you want to hold something, it's always there. Right, so all there is to do now, those couple of little bits of welding, I'll screw it back on. You've already seen how that looks. And now I'm going to go over it with that rust technique of mixing the iron powder with the clear coat, put that on and just give it a little bit of a sand off, over with the rusting solution with the white vinegar, peroxide and salt, spray some of that over, and it will look like the other mirror. And that's it. Mirrors on the Meat Wagon are done. Okay, so that is it for this week. Once again, we come to the end of yet another episode. And at the end of this episode, we've now got some rusty wing mirrors. Result! Don't forget, you can buy t-shirts and stickers on our Etsy store. The link's there. And this week, we got 20% off in our great Easter special. Now, when I say 20% off, like, they're still going to be as long as they were. They're not going to be like a crop top. I mean 20% off the price, which is the most important bit. So get on there, buy a t-shirt, buy some stickers, and that is it for this week. So, for another episode next week. It's all going to be good. Maybe some 60s truck. Yes. Until then, I thank you very much. And good night.